Hello! How are we all doing? Hopefully you can hear me. I have complete confidence. That usually becomes before a fall. But never mind, we'll get there, won't we? So, if you can hear me, let me know in the chat. Right, I need to zoom into the chat. It gets smaller every week, I swear. Or my eyesight gets worse. One or the other. But I'm going to say that it's them making it smaller. Oh, Renee says she's alive. So obviously you can hear me. So hello, one and all. Renee was in first. I'm wondering where young Jonathan is. And we have Deb and we have Kim. Hello. And Pandemonium. Do love that name. Oh, and me. Yes, I bobbed in. Yes, it's not like me to have enough time to bob in, but I did. And who else have we got? Debbie S. Hello. Carol. Saw you earlier, Carol. That hot seat thingy. I was waiting for you to be in the hot seat. And I was pondering my own answers to those questions. Oh, hairy, scary or what? Did you enjoy it? Let me know. Right, who else have we got? If I miss anybody, shout at me. Deb! Hello, Deb! And who else have we got? Peter! Oh, yes, I need to skulk around, don't I, lest the dogs be upset. I'm getting there. I've not been well, have I? Right, and we've got Patience in the room. Hello, and Graham. And who else have we got? I think... Oh, Joe! Joe's in. Hello! Right, we're all present. Oh, Carol says too scary. It's interesting when they make it look so simple. So we're talking about a session in the Ship 30 Captain's Table, and it was a hot seat, and people who were looking for input from our captains put themselves forward, volunteered. I cowered in the corner, as usual. Carol was with me. But when they're asking the people in the hot seat the questions, you can't help but think about it yourself. The one with the Iron Man just had me rolling on the floor because Cole was really into it. And it was like, and I thought, yeah, Iron Man, that'll do. And then the guy was like, no. I had to start again. But I think what they came up with was better, so there you go. Right, so let's see if the slides are moving on. Can you see my agenda, Mike? When you can, just give me a thumbs up. Otherwise, I'll just be yakking, won't I? Over nothing. So he's having a ponder. He's having a think. He's got his headphones on. My headphones are broken, but that's another sad story. So we have the week at MacBites headquarters. Not much happened this week, I don't think. Did it? Did I miss something? I don't think so. Lots of celebrations, but, apart from that. Anyway, we do have some Notion updates. Yes, you're looking at that, aren't you? Weekly calendar. I've been asking for that since 2018. Guess what? It's there. An AI for all. That's interesting. Then there's a Raycast update, which is kind of related. Then Jammy, and I don't see Jammy. Where's Jammy?
At the gym.
Well, this isn't good enough because he asked for ways to transfer your photos from your iOS devices. So what's been on the agenda for ages and ages, I went to add it, and as I started typing PhotoSync, it popped up and I thought, have we had that in there before? We did, but we've never actually covered it. So I'll be looking at PhotoSync. Then I've got got 2 freebies. And then we're looking at Transclusion. Should be excited about that. Transclusion in Obsidian. That is what makes Obsidian the note-taking app as far as I'm concerned. So that's what we're going to do. Okay. Carol says she come up with her own niche and she's happy. Well, when they start talking about niches, I'm like, And it's like, should I just be teaching Affinity Publisher for church newsletters? And then should I niche it down to a particular faith when I'm at it? I'm not sure. I just don't know. I don't know. Right, we're broadcasting in 1080p. Make sure you are receiving in 1080p. YouTube had the temerity this week to dump me into 360. I don't think it goes lower than that, unless it's off a phone from the mid-90s. So make sure you are watching in 1080p. While you are down there, there is a like button. We like it if you hit the like button. That would be grand. So, last week, I mentioned something about Johnny I. Not our Johnny. The Johnny I. Although our Johnny's the Johnny I, isn't he? The imposter. It was all to do with his, I don't even know what we want to call that, monstrosity for King Charles's coronation. Am I watching? No, I've just got an extra holiday, as far as I'm concerned. But I did mention that somebody would put it on a teapot. My prediction came true. It's the Apple teapot. It's the thinnest teapot ever. It doesn't actually brew any tea or anything. It's more of an ornament, but there you go. That's what it looks like in situ on said teapot. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. He designed my iMac.
How many USB sockets has it got?
None. No, it's like that coffee table book they brought out. That didn't run on batteries either. Yes, so the teapot. The last person I remember who used a teapot was my grandmother. She had a teapot, didn't she? And a tea cosy, because she had very bad arthritis. So she'd brew a pot of tea and then take it in there, and then she'd have like 3 or 4 cups out of it before she needed to go back in the kitchen again. Yeah, but apart from that, teapots were banned in this house, weren't they?
Yes.
You see, Mike's already laughing, and you missed the 24 years worth of it.
I did.
But Mum had a teapot that was like insulated. So it wasn't a pot teapot like that. It was an insulated plastic one. So it kept the tea warm for ages and she loved it. Dad would insist on picking it up by the neck at the top rather than use the handle because, you know, he was a bro. And he would pick it up at the top, and I can't tell you how many times he dropped it. Tea all over the carpet. She went mad. So in the end, no more teapot. In fact, this teapot is still known between Mike and I as the rubber teapot, as it bounced off the floor that many times. Anyway, I discovered that said logo is also available in different colours, in keeping with the iPods and the phones. So there's a rose gold version in the middle. That's pink to you and me. And obviously, if he was having pink, he decided to go for powder blue as well. Oh, it's vile. No, we can't have it. Anyway, Saturday, food. No Wendy. That wasn't the only thing that was missing. You may or may not know, if you're in the UK, you are going to know this. There is a UK-wide shortage of vegetables and salad. Particularly tomatoes. It's all to do with the price of electric. Anyway, what would you put with your salad if you couldn't get the tomatoes? We are reliably informed, by the government no less, that it's turnips you need to be buying. I wouldn't want turnips in my salad, would you?
No.
What are they on? And if you think I'm joking about it being the government, no. I do love the one on the Daily Star, and these are not newspapers that I normally read. Obviously, you can tell that by looking at them. They look like comics. For our overseas visitors, it was the Daily Star that had the lettuce that was running the country, if you remember. Well, now they've got somebody in the government. Is this Theresa Coffey? I mean, they're all barking,
So, yeah.
but some are more barking than others. Yeah, I love the way they've said, where is it? Something about being a peasant. That the peasants can have turnips. Love it. Love it.
Doesn't that take us back to Graham Taylor?
Yes. You couldn't make this stuff up. So, basically, no food. I could get upset about that. But then I thought, well, hang on a minute. If they've got nothing like that that's, healthy, we'll just have to indulge ourselves with other things, won't we? So that there was lots of other things that I found that we could indulge ourselves with that looked far more engaging than the salad. So, not all bad then. We've no idea what'll rock up tomorrow. Mike put things in his basket and Tesco's took them out. It's been quite a game, hasn't it?
It has.
Chase the food. It's like being in a third world country, isn't it? Do you remember Brexit? It was going to be marvellous. We were going to have, the NHS was going to be sorted and we'd have food. Not worked out that way. But never mind. We went into a match. This could have been pretty naughty, couldn't it? If it had got out of hand. But look, oh no, it was Leicester, not Leeds. It ended rather well. So Mike was a happy bunny. We like Mike being a happy bunny. Which took us on to Monday. We were busy on Monday. Some of you will have been with us while we were busy on Monday. It was the planner pages for teachers, with lots of features that didn't matter if you were a teacher or not, but that's how we demoed it. I, even on Monday, was looking forward to Tuesday. Why was I looking forward to Tuesday? Because in the midst of all this food shortage, Mike had managed to snag us some pancake mix. Oh, it was delicious. You surpassed yourself with that, Mike.
Came all the way from
Go on.
Ethiopia.
I said I'm old enough to remember when we were sending food to Ethiopia. Now we are importing it. That is gluten-free pancake mix that came from Ethiopia. Anyway, it was fabulous. Tasted gorgeous. Loved it. Wednesday, I had a nasty shock because I've been using the AI in Notion. I signed up when I was 21,000th in the queue. Mike was about 2,400,000, weren't you? But I logged in and it had gone. Yeah, it's a long story. But basically they were saying, thank you for being part of the private alpha. I thought, oh, was it a private alpha? Okay, fair enough. If you want it now, here's what you need to do. So I'm coming on to that and sharing the whole thing with you. But my AI vanished on Wednesday, which left me bereft. I've been having such fun with it. But never mind. We sorted it and I'll share it with you. Then on to Thursday. Thursday, I think I should have put the bot in, the squeaky bot. It was well, it's not really the Champions League, is it? It's the Tin Pot now.
The Tin Pot.
Yes, it's the Euro Tin Pot. But anyway, we were playing Barcelona, and it was a bit. What would you say? The odds were we were going to get stuffed, but we didn't. We didn't. It was fabulous. Mike's got a write-up about that, haven't you?
I have.
We asked the AI, well, Mike asked the AI to do a write-up on the match. It's absolutely hysterical. Not one part of it was anything like the match I saw. No. They've got the wrong players. Did they actually get the right result?
No, it said it finished 2-2, I think.
There are no words. Anyway, Mike was deliriously happy. He got a bit nervy in the last 5 minutes, but it was celebrations all round. So he was a happy, happy bunny. In the small hours of Friday morning, when Mike was still celebrating, somebody was a little bit dopey and didn't really look like she wanted to celebrate with him. Look at her face. She was asleep and Mike decided to raunch round the upstairs of the house, singing about winning the game. She wasn't happy. But she did let us pet her, didn't she?
She did.
She was very cute. Okay, so that was our week. Let me know about your week in the chat. Right, so first up, the Notion updates. Right, I will discuss the weekly calendar and I will demo that for you, but it's the AI for all that was the thing. So if you've got an account, you should, and you were in the alpha, you will have received this mail. Basically, it is available for all. They weren't lying. But it's now a paid-for add-on. Now, if you have a free account, you can still get it, but now you have to pay for it. So you can have a free account, and you can have AI in it, but you need to pay for the AI even if you're not paying for the account. There are different prices depending on how you pay. So if you don't pay at all, I'm guessing you can choose between paying monthly for the AI and paying annually for the AI. Annually is going to be £16 cheaper because instead of $10 a month, it's $8 a month. If you have a paid for account and you pay monthly, you can only add the AI also monthly. So you wouldn't be able to save the extra 16 because you're not paying annually for your main account. If you are paying annually for your main account, which gives you a discount to start with, then you must pay annually for the AI. Now, ours is due the back end of November, so I wondered how they were going to sort that out. I can now tell you how they're going to sort that out. They give you a month to pay for it, and then it's prorated. So it's added to our bill about $160. Don't ask it about football. But other than that, it's worth every penny. Just don't ask it about football. It's clueless. Absolutely clueless. So you should have been given some kind of notification that looks like that. So as soon as you log in, this is overlaid over your whatever page you tried to open. And it gives you a sort of a trial. I would have liked if they were going to take that away, that they gave you a couple of days' notice, because I can imagine that I was going to demonstrate it and literally it disappeared from under me 5 minutes before I was going to demo it. So a couple of days would have been nice. But no, they gave you no notifications at all. So you can see it in action. And obviously they're going to ask it questions that it comes up absolute trumps with. Other than that, everybody is getting 20 free goes with it. But once you've used up your 20 free goes, then it's a paid for thing. So that's the first thing that you see. And then the second thing is in terms of what to expect and how to get the best out of it. So there's your 20 free responses at the bottom. And it's also saying in the middle, and I mean, the middle was written for you, Mike. It was. AI may provide inaccurate responses. Don't ask it about United. Honestly, it's clueless. So they're telling you to review and fact check all the AI responses. To be honest, I mean, if it comes up with complete garbage like that, I would tap the thumbs down button and let them know, because then they can train it better. I would have thought with that last night, asking it for a report on last night's match, if you didn't watch the match, you had no idea what the score was. It reads really well. It's just factually incorrect by saying, was it somebody gave a penalty away and he wasn't actually on the pitch? And Lionel Messi scored. And Lionel Messi wasn't playing, was he?
Lionel Messi doesn't even play for Barcelona anymore.
I was going to say that, hadn't he moved? So it was shocking. Now, maybe it was shocking because it was so new. But you know, when I did my initial testing and I was asking it about Munich, which is 65 years ago, and that wasn't right either. So what it excels at is stuff that's a little bit hazy around the edges. So if you ask it for like an opinion on something, what you get back is perfectly usable. But I think what will happen is that people will use it as is and they won't fact check it. That's the problem with it. Anyway, it was actually quite difficult. This is my account page, and it was actually quite difficult to get this for $8. So we're on the Plus plan, which used to be business. They then added another business tier, which we don't need. So ours is the Plus plan, which is $8 per user per month, and that's the two of us. And the reason that we have to pay and not use the free plan is if you want a shared area, you have to pay. So we're already paying $16 a month. If we wanted the AI, then that was going to be another $16 a month. So there you go. They've just doubled their money overnight. But if you notice at the top, it's telling me what plan I'm on, which is correct. The Plus plan. It's telling me I've got 2 active members. That's correct as well. But then it's telling me it's going to cost me $10 a month, not $8 a month. Underneath on the right-hand side, where it says Notion AI, add to plan, there was no other way to do it. So I thought, well, I'd have to confirm, because I'd have to confirm a payment method, surely. So I clicked the button, at which point it did acknowledge that it was $8 a month because I was on the annual plan. So if you want to throw money at them, that's how you go about it. But let's go see it. It's not changed that much since the first time we looked at it. I would say they've extended the prompts a bit. And the other thing is it's more integrated. So now you can't really get away from it. But let's have a look at it. Has anybody else done the dance and bought the thing yet? Let me know, because I'm about not to be able to see the chat because I need to go into Notion.
Kim turned them down.
In no uncertain terms.
Their kind offer to charge her for AI.
Right, we will be going into this comms table shortly, but I'm not starting there. I'm just going to show you the AI. So shall we just shove the AI at the bottom of all this lot? Let's shove it at the bottom of all this lot. Right, first thing I need to do up here is unlock the page, because the page is locked lest Mike makes any mistakes. Isn't that right? Oh, he's grumpy now.
I would say nothing.
Yeah, you don't say anything.
No.
Right, so first of all, you know that there's a slash command. So if I press the slash key, I get all of the options. But they've integrated AI to such a degree that the AI is at the top. And the other thing is you don't even have to go that far. If you're in there, you read what it says, press space for AI. Or the / for commands. But even if you did the / for commands, you're still going to get AI at the top of the list. So if I press the space bar, I get the prompt. And what has changed is all of these options that are in here, they're now grouped a little bit better. And there's more of them. So when it first came out, it was very much left to your own devices. Now it's grouped and they've added items. So if you've added anything in here, so if you've got some text and you want the writing improved, you can use a command to do it. You can fix the spelling and the grammar. Heaven knows what it would do with that. I can't see the grammar being up to our Tracy, can you? No, and the spelling's probably American, but I don't know. You can make something shorter, you can make it longer. That might be popular, just saying. You can change the tone of it. Now, this one's interesting because I've seen people do this, and honestly, it's hysterical. If you've got something written and you don't feel it's professional enough, you can ask it to make it more professional, or more casual, or straightforward. When they opted for friendly, it was just a joke. It was like, yo, bro. No one's going to write like that. But that is what it can do with it. And you can simplify it. You can then ask it to draft all kinds of stuff in here. And even do to-do lists and stuff like that. What I did the other day, as a giggle, was I asked it to write a poem. But I wanted a poem for Mother's Day from a son and his wife. I think I put loving poem. Let's try putting a loving in at the beginning.
Renee says ask it to do it in an ancient language.
Do you know it'd probably try? I could ask it to, what's that language that's in Star Trek? Klingon. I think it's Klingon. Anyway, this was what I asked it to do. There you go. I thought it's not actually, but it's better than I could write in a poem. Let's put it like that. So I think your mother might be in luck this year. Don't tell her about the AI until after Mother's Day, which is the 19th of March, if you're wondering. I find it absolutely fabulous. I'm going to save some of the stuff I've been working on in AI because it's working really well. So things like poems to me are a little bit quirky, you know. But some of it is amazing. The trick is asking the right question. So really, it is a matter of training the AI, but it's also a matter of training yourself as well. But that is going to add $8 a user, even to a free account. So is anybody up for that, or have you all run away screaming? The reason that I'm prepared to pay for it is some of the stuff that I've been able to make it do. So I've deep dived it more than just asking it questions about United and stuff. There was a session that I watched. It was a 2-hour mastermind on it, and it was brilliant. It was absolutely fantastic. So I'm taking the principles from that and then applying it to what I do. I think Carol missed that, didn't you, Carol? Let me know. I think you missed it. You said, Drac, you'd missed it. But I think it is available for Captain's Table members. So it was a Ship 30 session, but it was open to the public. I think it was $150. It was worth 10 times that. Trust me, it was a fantastic session. If you've not got access yet, Carol, you need to get it because it was good, that. Right, so that was the first thing. That's now available for all, but you've got to pay for it. Right, I've got this page open, which is our comms page. So let me zoom down a bit so we can see the whole thing. This is the comms page where I write the comms and then Mike sends the comms. We've got a range of views in here. So obviously we did the Advent last year. There's all the Advent stuff. So at the top of this, it's in 3 sections really. The left-hand side is our menu. Now it's not the Notion menu. The Notion menu's up here. So this sidebar is folded away. We've made our own sidebar, and this is the sidebar for MacBites. It's all the different things to do with MacBites. So that's on the left. The other bit, the main bit that we're looking at with all the pictures in, is basically like the canvas area. It's got it's a table, and it has different views on it. So we've got the gallery view of Advent. We have the table view of Advent. We've got Advent the year before. We have Advent the year before that. We just leave it there. And we have the calendar view. Now, mainly, we're in a rolling 2 weeks, which is that. So everything that can go has gone. Some of this is not started yet, but all the in-progress stuff, the ready to send, draft and scheduled, it's all gone and it's all in sent over here. So this is the view we tend to live in. We didn't want to. We wanted to live in a calendar view. So we do have a calendar view. It's absolutely hideous. Who can follow that? I have no idea what all that's about. It's awful. For something that has as many items as this, if this was live sessions, you might get away with it. The reason that you don't here is that for each event, we may be sending 10 different communications and they're all on this calendar. So it's absolutely impossible to follow along with it, which was why we wanted a week. We could probably manage 7 days, but not like this. So that's what they've added. But to be honest, I think they've hidden it. There's no need to have it hidden the way they've hidden it. My first thought was, well, surely it should be under here. But no, it's not. So this is our calendar. I am going to go into there and I'm going to rename it because that would now be monthly. Right, next thing I'm going to do, this is already filtered, etc. So the easiest way to go is to duplicate this one. And it's not going to be monthly, this one's going to be weekly. And the trick is, in the layout, you choose whether you want a table, a board, timeline, etc. I still want this to be a calendar, but you can in here show the calendar as, and month is the default. But if you open that up, you now have week. 5 years later, thank you very much, Notion, at last. So if I choose week, that becomes way more manageable. That's much calmer. Now I could see that I could live with that. This is next week, isn't it? But I can move backwards to see what was sent out this week. So looking at this week, you should see you've got the green at the bottom where it's saying sent. And it might look a bit tiny because I've made it smaller so we can actually see the whole thing. But if I do that, that's the size it normally is. So these are what went out on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday. And these are ready to go tomorrow. So this is how we organise it. So this one would have gone to my VIP list, which is the announcement of the planner pages for students. Tomorrow it says T-2, which means it's on Monday, so it's -2 days, and I will put that out on social. This one is tonight's show, which is this one here, and that's T+1 day, so that will go out on social. And then we'll have T-1 day for the planner pages, and then we will move into next week. And now I could use that. Could you use that?
Yeah.
The month one was just a living nightmare for us. It really was. So I think that is a huge improvement. I don't understand why they've made such a drama out of it and why it's taken so long. Because, I mean, it is literally just a filtered view. But that is a huge improvement. Who is using the calendar and who would prefer weekly to monthly? Because I would definitely prefer that. So I could actually see me leaving that set like that and just moving it on a Sunday night. Oh, I forgot to turn my notifications off. I'm very naughty, aren't I? Right, why don't I ever go through that checklist, Mike? I do, you know, but I always forget one item. There we go. Turned it off on the other screen. Right. So that's what they've added. I am enjoying that. I'm liking that a lot. Has anybody got any questions about that?
No, Kim says she likes the calendar.
I think just having it the week, because it's too overwhelming. I mean, you're only looking there at 25% or less than you're forced to look at in that calendar. And that, for me, it's just information overload. The whole thing of filtering. I mean, I guess you could apply a filter to the calendar and just see this week. You know, if the date is within the next 7 days, you'd have a rolling view. But the problem is you would still be faced with the monthly calendar. It wouldn't have changed that into being a day or a week. So big improvement. I'm liking that. Liking that a lot. I'll leave it set, Mike, so you can have a look at it, but he probably won't. You'll probably stick with the rolling 2 weeks, won't you?
Probably.
Thought so. Actually, I'm not looking at the Advent ones and they're still there, so it does need a bit of a tidy up, but there you go. Okay, let's move that out of the way so I can see on there what I should be seeing. That's not what I should be seeing. And I can go back and then see the chat. Okay, so talking of AI, it's a bit like they've unionised in a way, one out, all out. As soon as I'd paid the bill to Notion, Raycast brought out an update, and it's their AI update. Now, don't get excited, because we know Raycast is free. That is what they've added. It's a beta of their Raycast AI. It's coming soon, and you do need a Raycast account. Now, Raycast itself is totally free, and a Raycast account is totally free, but you need one if you want to test the AI. They have said that they have not reached a conclusion yet as to what they would be charging. There were some options when you signed up for beta access, and really they're asking you how much you would pay. The groupings were 0, I wouldn't pay anything. Well, that's not sustainable. Raycast can't provide it for free because they're paying for it. The next one was $10 or less, and then I think it was $20 or less. So, but at least you get some input. There is, and I did put the link in for the sharing of Mike, there is a video that shows it in action. And it is very similar to ChatGPT in terms of you can have a conversation with it. But by adding it inside Raycast, you can also create dedicated commands of your own for it. So if, for instance, you did a lot of translation, so maybe you're getting content from France and you need to translate a lot of stuff, you can make a dedicated command and that will happen automatically via Raycast. So you can just select it, you don't need to copy it, just select it in whatever app the text is in, and then run a Raycast command to convert to English, and it will do that. So I think that's got a lot of possibilities. I did sign up for the waiting list and I haven't heard anything yet. So I'm still in Notion, trying to educate it about football. But it's worth seeing the video because I think that's got a lot of legs. Whether you would choose, because, you know, if it is $8 to $10, then you're probably going to choose between something like Notion or Raycast. I guess it depends where you want to put your money. We figured we needed it straight away, given what we're doing with it at the moment. So we'll probably do a deeper demo than we've done. But given what we're doing with it now, it's saving a lot of time. So we went with the Notion one because we need it working and we need it working now. I would be prepared to switch to something else. I don't really mind. The obvious thing to do is actually go to ChatGPT and pay them. That's $20 a month and you've got to live in the States. So it'd be a little bit more expensive for us. We'd have to move as well. So that's why we went with Notion. So nothing to see with that at the moment, but it is there in the app. And as soon as it's available or you reach the top of the list, and they said they will be rolling it out over, you know, a batch per day over the next few weeks, try it. Right. PhotoSync. Oh, in fact, have we got any questions on that?
No.
We're all right with that?
Yeah.
Right, PhotoSync. This could be fabulous, or it could all fall apart, given how many things I've got to do. But basically, the question that what we got asked was: is there a way to manage photos not involving Apple Photo? Well, I have not opened Apple Photo in living memory, so yes, there is. This is the one that I use. I've used it for a long, long time, but there are other alternatives. This one is only to do with video and photos. So if what you're trying to get off your device, and I tried this, is audio from an audio recording app that's since gone defunct, PhotoSync is not your friend. It is for photos and video. There are other applications that can do photos and video and let you drill down inside apps to the app's content. The one I've used for years is called Phone View. So if I wanted to deal with photos or video, I'd have a choice between this Phone View app and PhotoSync, but PhotoSync is dedicated to photos and video. The problem with Phone View is it's made by Ecamm, and Ecamm are laying it to rest, giving it a good funeral. They suggest using iMazing, which is another app that's one of these utility apps, like a Swiss Army knife. It's not for one thing, and I have used iMazing. Graham recommended it, and it did salvage an app that I wanted salvaging. So I'm all right with that one. But if it's photos and videos you want, then PhotoSync is your friend. Now, why would I go for this if it does less? It might be specifically what I want, but it does less. And the reason is, yes, it does less in terms of it can only access photos and video. But it's the other end of the equation where PhotoSync shines, which is where are these photos and video going? So you may want to back up while you're on the move, in which case it would need to send it to a cloud or maybe a second device that you've got. Do you remember at the beach soccer, we were trying to back up those photos because I was absolutely paranoid. Eric Cantona wanted one of my photographs. I could not lose this photograph. And it was like, well, when am I going to back this up to? And I burnt it on a disc moment. But I also wanted the whole lot backed up. And I ended up backing it up to a media player while I was away. So it literally was. It was like the poor man's iPod, this thing. Mind you, it was only about £40. But it was amazing. It had 40 gig hard drive and I could put all my data on it as well. So PhotoSync excels at the number of places that you can save your data. So let's have a look at it. It comes in two parts. So the first part, we're going to need to do some magic here so you can see it. Oh no, don't do two things and then three. That's just confusing. There we go. Right, so the first thing is the app, which is PhotoSync, as you can see. And you install the app. Right, I have the photos next to it. And you can see in here I've got no photos and no video right now. That's because I cleared everything off before we started. But what I can do is open the camera. There we go. I'll move it that way so we can see the iPad that's next to me. Try and get it in focus. And then at least we'll have a photo of that. Should I take a photo of you while I'm at it, or should I leave you be?
Leave me be.
Oh, I'll have to leave him be. He gets grumpy. Right. So, I should now have at least one photo for the backing up of. There we go. Right. So, inside PhotoSync, all I've done is install it. I think I have configured a couple of locations. But what we're looking at in here, this is drilling down into your photos. So, across on the left-hand side, we have the burger menu. And in there, these are what you have in your Photos app. So you have the recents at the top. Interesting, it's saying 0 when there's a photo there, crying out loud. But I've also got some user albums, and I think all of these were created. Oh no, I created the bottom one. I created the stickers one when we were doing the stickers demo. But the Dropbox one was created by Dropbox. NetView is our camera system, our CCTV stuff. And Pixo is an app that has created its own album. Right, that's relevant because what you have selected in the albums is what shows in the main area of the app. So I'm on recents, despite the fact it's saying there's none. There is. So we've got the one app, right. Moving across the top, we've then got whether that is showing as a thumbnail or it's showing as a list. It doesn't really matter. You can filter for just videos or just photos if you want to. So we could go into photos and see that there is one. We could go into videos and see that there isn't one. Right. The next option, down here, we've got the feature level. Now, this is quite weird. When it started out, wasn't it free originally? I'm sure it was totally free at the beginning. Then they put a price on it where you bought the app, and it was something ludicrous like $2.99. So we all did that. Then they brought out a pro thing. Now, it can do what it can do in terms of transferring photos. The pro and the premium, the difference is where you can send them, which is key, depending on what kind of backup you're doing. So we then had the pro version, didn't we? Well, I installed it today because I've not had it on this iPad. And it started going on about a premium level. I thought, oh. And it knew that I had a pro account. So it said I had three options. One was 79p a month. One was £2 something. I'm not sure what that was for. Oh, that was for a year. Something like £2.49 for 1 year. And then £5.99 every year after that. Or I could just give them £15 and be done. And that's a lifetime thing. So in essence, you'd be breaking even at year 3. So I thought, I'll do that. Because my phone is a disaster with photos, put it like that. So I thought I'll do that. When I tried to buy it, it said it couldn't let me do that because I'd already bought it. I had no recollection I'd already upgraded. So that's why it says premium. That is in there. So it's telling you that you can organise on the computer, you've got client-side encryption, and there's different places that you can send it to. But the exact options that you have will depend on the level that you're at. The app has been around for a long, long time. So I trust them in terms of, there's apps that come out and it's like, sign your life away. Oh, like P-Cloud. Can you give us £900? Short answer to that, no. The price of this, I was fine with it, but your mileage may vary. So what I've got in here is you can configure your transfer targets. So these are all the places that I can send it to. So you can see I've got computer at the top. Now for that to work, the computer needs to have an app installed. The app is free. It's the companion app. It doesn't matter if it's Windows or Mac. It can be either. Phone and tablet, you will need the same app on the other device. But as I was talking about being at the beach soccer, if I'm in the press tent and I've got with me an iPad with a terabytes of storage because I wanted the memory, didn't want the storage, but wanted the memory, I can actually take my phone and just transfer it straight to the iPad. So if I'm running short of space on my phone, I can do that. But I could also send it via WebDAV, FTP, SMB is usually local. What else have we got? We've got files. I can send it to USB or iCloud. Dropbox, which I did have configured, but I think I configured that on the other device. OneDrive, Google Drive. For me, the most important was S3. I'm not sure if the S3 is one of the premium targets, but S3 is storage, cloud storage that you only pay for what you use. So instead of going for 3 terabytes from Dropbox, I don't want 3 terabytes. I have no need for 3 terabytes from Dropbox. But some of the other pro features I need. So I don't actually need the space. With S3, you only pay for what you use. You could also upload them to Google Photos, which is critical. I've not used Flickr in years. There was in here P-Cloud. So if you've got some P-Cloud storage, which I think I'm up to 4 terabytes on there, I could back them up to there as well. And once these are configured, that's it. You can just tap it and up they go. So you can obviously send this to more than one location as well, but this is where you configure your locations. So once you've configured your locations and you've got your one photo, it should probably take a couple more because it probably not take that long at this rate. What I do, all the photos I had on here, I had 152. They're all screenshots. So I've just taken a screenshot there. They're all screenshots for demos that I'd done. And you can see it instantly comes in. You don't have to reload it. It comes in instantly. So now we've got 2 photos to transfer. So up in the top right, we have the red button with the arrows on. So if I tap on that, first thing to think about is what exactly you are trying to do with this. It's telling you you've got 2 new images. Now we know we've got 2 images, but it knows that these have not been backed up or sent anywhere else at this point. So it's telling you they're new. They're both selected because they've got the blue border on them. Next to that, you can see selected, but that's dimmed out because they are selected. And at the end, you've got all. Now, you would use new if you are sending them to a backup location where you've already backed up, your 3,000 photos and you've got 2 new ones and you want those backed up. You don't have to send the lot. It will know what it's already backed up. If you're backing up to a completely new location and you want to back up everything, then you would choose all on the right-hand side. For what we're doing here, it makes absolutely no difference. Now, at the very top, it says send and receive. So because this is a two-way thing on devices, I'm actually from this device sending the photos. But if you wanted to go into receive mode, so you could receive the photos from your phone, then you would go into receive mode over there. And you would then have to tell it where the stuff's coming from. So is it coming from a computer, a phone, WebDAV? Where's it coming from? And the whole range of places it could be coming from, so you could actually pull things down from the cloud, is available in there to receive from. But in this case, we are sending. Right, so I've got my new photos and I just need to send them. So I'm going to tap on new. As soon as I've tapped on it to tell it which photos to work with, it then shows me what looks like the exact thing that we saw in receive, and it is. So do you want it to go to a computer? Do you want it to go to a device? Or do you want it to go to a location? Most of the time I send it to a computer. When I tried this about 2 hours ago, threw all its toys out of the pram, but you know, it's worth giving it a go. So if I tap on computer, it needs to know if you want to keep the high efficiency images, because what it can do is convert them to JPEG. Now, I want to keep the high efficiency because I want the originals. I do not want them converting to JPEG, which are lossy. But your mileage may vary depending on what it is you're trying to do. So if you want to send them to a shared cloud space to share with somebody else and they don't have the ability to read a high efficiency, then you could, for that destination, choose a JPEG. But I'm going to say keep the high efficiency. And it's going to search for devices like that. It got this far, so don't get excited. And then it decided it wasn't letting me go any further. But let's have a look if it's in a good mood. Oh, it's in a good mood. Jolly good. Right, so what's happened there is it's backed it up to the machine that I am sat and looking at, and you are sat looking at my iPad on. Right, how did it do that? Well, on that machine, I have the app running, the other half of the app, the Conduit app, and I'd pre-configured where to save it. So that was one thing. Right, let's see if I can get it to send it somewhere else. Now, I've tapped it again, and it now doesn't have new selected. And new isn't selected because they're backed up, and you can see they also don't have the blue edge on them. So if I'd taken yet another screenshot, so we'll come out of there and we'll do a screenshot of the whole thing, and then we'll go back in and it will appear. Let's get rid of that. If I now tap on that red button, there's one new image. So in terms of keeping a rolling backup up to date, I could tap on new, I could tap on computer, I could tap on my current computer, Mohawk, and I've now got the 3 images backed up without having to back up the first 2. So we've done all of that on that computer. Let's tap again. This time we will say all, and I'll see if I can get it sent somewhere. Shall I try a Dropbox? It'll probably say you've got to go into Dropbox and do magic beans. Let's have a look. Right, link with your Dropbox. Well, let's try that. It wants to open Dropbox. Away you go. Right, so you need to tell it that yes, you can do that. So I will tap allow. It will authorize, and then I get to tell it where I want it to put it. Now, I've already done this on another iPad. So if you look down the bottom of that list, which is in some weird order, isn't it? Inbox should be at the top. That's the issue with it. I've got a PhotoSync folder in root. I wouldn't leave it there. I've put it there for demo purposes. But I've called it PhotoSync. I haven't called it the name of this device or anything specific. It's just PhotoSync. It will take care of that. So I will tap on PhotoSync and you will see that there is a folder called Geronimo. I have an iPad called Geronimo. It's not this iPad. This one's called Integrity, but Geronimo is my 2018 iPad. And that has already backed up to there. So I don't need to drill down any further. What I want PhotoSync to do is add a folder for this iPad to use for its backups. And I don't really need to tell it to do that. I just need to point it to the root folder that I would like that in. And that's PhotoSync. So I'll tap select and it will back up. Now, it's not at this stage backing up to a local device. It's actually uploading it via the internet to Dropbox. Have you got a question over there?
There is a question from Renee.
See, I don't even, I can't see a thing and I can sense there's a question.
I don't see iCloud Drive.
I don't think iCloud Drive is there, but there's something /iCloud. It didn't support iCloud at all at one point, unsurprisingly. Can you connect any other way? Can you WebDAV to it? I don't think that's one of the options. But that would just be typical, wouldn't it? That could be because of the way that Apple have designed it. So we've got 2 backups of this at this point. Right, next thing I'll do, I will tap that again. I will say all. This time I will endeavour to get it up to here. So this is S3. I want to keep the high efficiency again. And you can see again it's transferring to Amazon S3. So all of these destinations I've pre-configured. But I mean, it's as simple. You saw the Dropbox one. That didn't even need a password. But that's because on this iPad, it's got face recognition and I'm sat here. So it just flicked and that was it. So with my S3 one, it's not your Amazon password. It's some secret keys and magic beans that you waft at it. And once it's set up, that's it. So that's now backed up to there as well. And that is how fast that is. Obviously, more photos are going to take a bit longer. I'm not sure how pCloud needs to be set up. So let's have a look at that. If I were to say all of them and then go and find pCloud, reckon that's going to want me to log in. So link it with your pCloud account before your first transfer. So this is what you see with any of these services if they're not already configured. So I'll say OK and it'll go out there. And then I will need to do things because I haven't got the app installed. So it wants me to link PhotoSync to my pCloud account, which I can do, but not with my password on the screen. So what I'm going to do, can we get that on another screen? Yes, put it on another one. There you go. Right, just while I sort this out. So I've got my pCloud thing. It's doing the Face ID. I'm tapping continue. Now I've got to do it again because, you know, and log in. Right, at that point, I'll put it back on the screen you're looking at. So back over there, and I'm going to allow it. And that's it. So it's set up. That is the root of my pCloud. And you'll see Para at the top, then my inbox, application support. What I don't have here is PhotoSync at the root level. So I will tap plus. I will type in there PhotoSync. And enter on that. I'll tap to get inside that folder, but I don't need to do anything else. Tap select and it will back up. And it's that simple. Technically. Well, yeah, technically it is that simple, but I guess after that, you've got to work out how you're going to organise these photos, unless it's just a pure backup of it. I use this to transfer images. For years I used this before we had AirDrop, because I was taking screenshots on the iPad that I needed for training purposes and then transferring them to my Mac. But now I use AirDrop to do that. I will say, I think the more photos you've got, don't try backing them all up. So I've got something like 60,000 photos and videos. Never prune them, that's my problem. Just keep buying a bigger iPhone. That's actually when we upgrade, isn't it? It's like, yeah, I'm running out of space, let's get a new iPhone. Batch back them up because it's too much for it. And obviously also, you know, cloud storage, that would take a lot of space. So I would say that this is for backup. If you want to organise your photos, that's where Apple Photos comes in, or Google Photos, or Eagle, or something else. This is for backup. It's not really where you would go to try and find a photo. It's the plumbing that links your devices to cloud services or local storage. So we've seen it on the iPad. Let's come out of the iPad. Can we do that? Oh, jolly good. Right. So remember, I did do some backups locally. So I had it configured to go to my scratch disk, which is far too full. Right. So I've got my PhotoSync folder. When I go into that, this is the device name. So I'll go into that. And recents are what was on the iPad screen. So I'll go into that. And there are, oh, one of them was a movie even. Why has it got 4, not 3? Interesting. But those are the photos. So there's the last one that I took. And they are all backed up over here or transferred, depending on how you want to look at it. So there they are. Right, but that's not the only place that they are. So somewhere I have transmit. Oh, did I shut it down? That was silly. Right, what I've got in transmit is, so transmit is, how would you describe it? FTP client. So it's used to connect to remote devices, drives, storage. So what's on the left is my local files, and what's on the right is the remote system I am logged into. So I am logged in on here to S3 so I can show you that it did actually back up. In here I have Elaine Giles dot backup. I actually type out the word dot because some clients don't like a dot. It won't read the folders. But in there I have my PhotoSync folder. When I open that up, I have integrity with today's date, which was my earlier backup. So in there, I've got my recents, and there was 1,500 of them. So I took them off and put them in there. This one is the backup that you have just seen created. So if I go into that one, we have recents. If I go into there, we've got the same files. So I'm using Transmit, an FTP client, to show you this because that's how S3 works. You can mount S3 drives if you want to. If you have S3 storage and you want unlimited storage attached to your Mac, you can do that. I actually do that with two, let's have a look what we've got here, the scratch disk. Right, I do that with 2 mount points. So I have MacBites on S3 and I have my website on S3. Neither of those are mounted at the moment because you need a way to mount them. And the way to mount them is, come on, you can do it, is Cloud Mounter here. So if I mount MacBites, choosing mount, you will see that something should happen over here. There you go, it's done it. And it's got a cloud next to it, meaning it's alive, and it's got the unmount option. So if I click on here, there are all the newsletter assets that we use. And we've got bingo cards in there as well. There's the bingo cards. There they go. So that's just showing you the storage on there. You could do it through Finder, but I don't have a mount point for PhotoSync, so I'm doing it through Transmit. But in essence, what you're looking at is cloud storage. It's just that that is S3 cloud storage. But I also backed up to Dropbox, didn't I? And I've got Dropbox in here. There is PhotoSync. So open that up, and this one I'd backed up both of my iPads. This one, Geronimo, I made a huge mistake trying to back that up. There's 1,600 images, which was way more than I thought. After an hour and a half, I thought, I wonder if this is going to finish before the show. Anyway, it did, luckily. But that was more by good luck than good judgment. But if I open that up, you can see the recents. And if I open that up, you can see all of the files that I backed up. So that one is backed up. And this one is the iPad that you've just seen me back up. And there are those files in there. So that's the locations that the files went to. How did all of that happen? Well, up here, I've got this little app running. So that one there. If I had that running, I would probably hide it, but I've made it so it's in the menu bar so you guys can see it. Right, that is the desktop half of the app. So this is the conduit. So it says there's no transfers in progress. You transfer into a folder. You could send photos and videos. So if I've got some stuff on the desktop and I want it to go to a device, I could send it back the other way. And I've got preferences in here as well. So let's go into the preferences. So I don't have this starting on login because I don't use it that often. You can show it in the menu, which I choose, or you've got the dock on its own, or the dock and the menu. And when you are receiving photos, what do you want to happen with them? And this is how it went to my scratch disk PhotoSync folder. It's a bit annoying that I can't have multiple ones of these and then choose them at the point I'm transferring them. It still remembers iPhoto. It still remembers Aperture. My word. And it's got Apple Photos. So you could use PhotoSync to actually transfer them to Apple Photos if you want. To me, the whole point of the thing is that I want it in a folder. So I was able to clear the entire iPad of its 152 photos. I backed it up to 2 different places first and then just nuked them. So for management purposes and regaining space, I don't think you can beat that. If you are sending images from here, this is where it determines what it sends. So how does it want it sorted? And do you want them resized? So I always leave that to the original image, because what I don't want to happen is that I'm transferring stuff between devices and then I come to it and I'm like, okay, I'll transfer those over there. And I've transferred it 4 times and each time it's compressed it. So I leave it at original images and be done with it. And that is as simple as it is at that end. So the only thing you need this running for on a particular device is to transfer to this device. It just makes it that the images are receivable on this device. If you are an iPad person and a phone person and you don't have a desktop, then you just need the app and you just need that installing on all the devices that you want to work with. And it is that simple to create backups, and I mean multiple backups. Did I have pCloud in here? I think I did at one point. Let's have a look. I may since have nuked it, but let's see. I nuked it by the look of it. But I can get to pCloud, of course I can. So let me get to pCloud, and hopefully it was backed up there as well, despite their ridiculous £960 offer for me. This was a sale, apparently. It was reduced from 4,000. Well, I certainly wasn't paying that. Right, let's have a look at that. So this is my pCloud in a browser. There is the PhotoSync folder that we just created. Open that up, you have the name of the device. Open that up and you've got the recents, which is what I backed up, and there are the images. Now, this is why it stopped and asked, do you want to save the high efficiency? Because the PNGs you can see, the MAV you can see. This you can't see. pCloud doesn't support the preview on it. Now, if I were to click it, would it preview it? No, it's just downloaded it. So no, it can't preview that. So if you're sending them to pCloud as like a quick way for somebody else to look at them, to approve them or something, then you could say no, do them as a JPEG because the originals are somewhere else. Just depends what you want to do with it. But that is it in pCloud. So all your images, wherever you'd like them to be, is basically what PhotoSync does. So do we have any questions on that?
Only the one which I've answered. Patients wanted to know if Cloud Mount was subscription or not.
Oh, that's weird. It wasn't, and then it was, but you're grandfathered. If you want one that isn't, let's bring the browser
this
back.
This says lifetime license.
You can get a lifetime license. How much is it now?
$44.99.
Yeah, there's another one that does exactly the same job. And I use this other one for ages, which is Expand Drive. This one does come with a lifetime license, I believe. It also has an S3 client for macOS, but they got silly with their prices, so I didn't bother. But that's another one that does exactly the same job. So it lets you mount cloud services as local mounted drives. Usually when I'm explaining Cloud Mounter or Expand Drive, people are like, yeah, but why? Because I've installed the Dropbox client, and that is fine. But when I was looking after my dad's stuff, as well as my stuff in Dropbox, you can only be logged into one Dropbox account on the app you have installed for Dropbox. Same with Google Drive, same with OneDrive. So if you think about OneDrive, which is a great example, they give you 6 terabytes of storage, but it's split up into 6 different accounts, so you can only be logged in to one at a time. But using Expand Drive or Cloud Mounter, you can be logged in to all 6 at the same time, and they would just appear as 6 separate drives in the sidebar. I'm not suggesting that you do that, but you can, and that's why people use it. It's just so much more flexible. With Dropbox and Google Drive, I only tend to log in to one account. But OneDrive, you know, they've given you the storage, so I use it for backup. And S3, I have different, they're called buckets on S3. It's crazy, but the Elaine Giles .backup is a bucket, and you put your folders in the buckets. So you would have different buckets. That's why instead of logging in at the root, which I could do. So if I show you this, this here is S3. So if I click on there, all of these are buckets in my S3. So I can get to any of them. So elainegiles.co.uk is there. And MacBites, well, you can see we've got a .co.uk and we've got a dot with a DOT. So it's that one and it's that one. But I have separate mount points for them because they're different. As far as I'm concerned, they are totally different. So they're mounted as two totally separate drives, but they're on the same S3 account. It just makes it easier to work with. As far as I'm concerned, I don't want to be juggling between the two of them. I just want to click at the top level and be done. But S3 is very cost-effective storage because you're not paying for what you don't use. You can also, and I've not done this in years, but you can reduce the cost of the S3 storage by moving it to Glacier storage. Glacier storage is, it used to be called cold storage, hence Glacier. The idea is if you want the data back, you need to give them notice. So you need to put in a request to pull data down, and it might take like 4 hours. So if it's something that you need access to now, don't put it in Glacier storage. But if it's not, if it's like, oh, it's the backup of the backup of the backup, if I needed it, I could wait 4 hours. Then if you put it in there, I think it reduces the cost by about 75%. So S3 is fantastic if you're prepared to do a little bit more manual lifting. But if you just want everything there and working, then you need pCloud, you need Dropbox, you need Google Drive or OneDrive. Okay, do we have anything else?
Jammy came in halfway through and has got very excited in graphic detail in the chat. I won't read it.
I'll read it later, Jammy. You were mentioned at the beginning that it was your request.
I told him that.
Yeah, and I heard you were at the gym. How many times do I have to tell you that no good ever comes from visiting the gym? You then missed the beginning of the show that was dedicated to you. Shocking behaviour. Anyway, I think we've got a freebie now. Is it the freebie next? I'm sure it is. Right, let's move this out of the way. Did you get a price for that?
What?
The PhotoSync. There were so many different levels, I was lost. I know I paid $14.99 for the last update, which got me the premium thing. But other than that, I got lost with the pricing. He's having a look. I'd have a look in the App Store if I were you, because I'll try and blind you with science everywhere else. Right. Oh, it is. It's the freebies. And I've got 2 this week. We're heading back to Notion. This is a new template that has been added to the Notion template gallery. And I know a lot of you like the Getting Things Done methodology, GTD. It's completely free. This is a cut down version, I believe. There is a pro version if you want to upgrade. But if you want to have a play with it first, this is the free version. So it includes all of the things that you would need. So it starts off at the high level of, you know, your purpose in life. I mean, to survive till tomorrow, basically, but I think they have higher ideals than that. So your purposes and your principles, and then it drills down into a 3-year vision, etc. Eventually, you get down into what you're actually doing today, which is the next actions in there, and it includes weekly reviews and all kinds of stuff. Do I use stuff like that? No. No, I don't. I played around with it at the very beginning in Notion, and it just felt like it was a bit of a heavy lift. But I know other people love doing that. How do I do it? It's pretty ad hoc, because I think, as far as I'm concerned, not everything can be handled in the same way. So I started using things for quick capture. It didn't matter if it was a note, if it was a to-do, if it was a file, if it was a web page I wanted to read. It went into Notion. It went into things as quick capture. And it was only about 2 months in that I thought, I'll think I'll organise this a bit. And I think that was a good way to go about it. So I would have a concern if I pulled down a template and just tried using it. I think I'd want to understand how it worked. But you can do that. You can download that and pull it apart if that's what you would like to do. So completely free. All you need to do is hit the duplicate to your workspace button and you are done. Right, next one. This is free till Monday, and it is a set of Procreate brushes with textures. So there's 20 of them. I don't really fiddle around with Procreate, but these look nice, don't they? Smudgy and noisy and concrete jungle. I mean, who doesn't want that? I actually saw a question today about creating distressed text, which you could do nicely with that concrete jungle one, or even the dirty one. Or draw pretty things. Yeah, I'm not capable of drawing pretty things. I'll leave it alone. But these are what are available and they are totally free. So I thought I'd include them. So it's texture brushes for Procreate. And they are from Creative Market. They do 4 freebies a week now. They used to do 6 and then they dropped it completely. And then obviously people stopped going. So now they've taken it back and now it's 4. So there you go. So if you are in any way artistic, show us what you've drawn with them. I'm more on the technical side. Right. Oh, this is good this week. We're getting really detailed now with Obsidian and Transclusion. That's a word that isn't even in the dictionary. It is online, but not the dictionaries, the local dictionaries. So it was flashing up as being a spelling mistake. It's not a spelling mistake. It's a thing. So we're going to start off really basic. Basic notes. So, and this actually happened to me this week. I found some notes that I'd made 3 years ago at the very start of lockdown. And they were notes that I'd made during a live session. When I looked at them, they were made in Notability, which is unusual for me. They were handwritten. The handwritten part's not unusual, but it was unusual it was in Notability. And the reason it was in Notability was GoodNotes was having a moment in terms of I couldn't install it because I wasn't on the latest operating system and they got this beta and it was a long story. So I couldn't use it. So I wanted to handwrite these notes, so I put them in Notability. And they were pretty much as bad as that. I'm using Windows here as an example, but when I say as bad as that, what's missing? Well, pretty much everything apart from the actual notes. What do I mean by that? Well, they are very basic. I said to you it was the beginning of lockdown. How did I know that? Because there's no date. There's no title of the event. There's no URL. There's no presenter. There's no page numbers. There's nothing. Honestly, what was I thinking? So to make notes more useful, add context. So add a title, put headings in there. I've got put the source in there. I've got the date in there. I've got page numbers and I've even added highlights. That will take you 99% of the way there when it comes to taking notes rather than making notes. And there's a slight difference with them. But if you'd sat through a session like I did and you had bothered to put that much information in there, then you wouldn't have ended up like me, sitting there looking at it thinking, I wonder when this was and I wonder what the session was. I found it. I even found it. Well, I didn't find it. Ken found a recording of it. So I was able to hook the two back together. But, help future you. Provide context and that adds value to your notes. You're not changing the words that you wrote, but you've added context in terms of headings, where it's come from, when it was, because, something that's in there talking about this being a new feature. Yeah, it might have been a new feature 3 years ago, but when did I make these notes? Now, Transclusion takes this a step further. This is about gathering the notes together at the point that you're creating the notes. Transclusion works at the other end. It's when you're working with your notes and you're trying to make something of them. So it's the inclusion of part or all. Now it says of an electronic document, we can just say document. into one or more other documents by reference. Now, you might have complete clarity as to what that means. On the other hand, you might be human, like the rest of us, and not have a clue what it's talking about. So I have pretty pictures. Right, let's say that I'm needing to write, I don't know why either, but there you go, the history of Windows. And I have made some notes about Windows 95. You may think, right, well, I'm going to write the history of Windows. I'm going to refer to my notes in my Windows 95 note. The problem with that is what's in your Windows 95 note and what's in your history of Windows may change at some point. You may update your Windows 95 note, or you may update your history of Windows notes. So what if you could take your Windows 95 note and include it, hook, line and sinker as we say, in the history of Windows notes? Like that. That is transclusion. It's including everything that was in the Windows 95 note in your history of Windows note. Obviously, it's going to do nobody any good if it looks like that. But what it actually looks like is that. It takes the text of the Windows 95 note. The purple stripe is purple in my Obsidian. Your mileage may vary depending on your theme, but it's indicating that that content is coming from somewhere else and is embedded or transcluded in your history of Windows note. Right, that wouldn't be bad as far as it went. But if we take that to the next stage, in addition to my Windows 95 note, I also have notes about Windows 98, one of my favourites, Windows XP, not one of my favourites, and Windows 3.1.1 that I have fond memories of, although I was an Amiga user at the time. Now, my history of Windows documents, document, singular, would probably need to make reference to Windows 3.1.1, Windows 3.1, Windows 95, 98 and XP. If I've already taken the time and effort to create notes about each one of those operating systems, I'm not going to want to recreate it. I'm not going to want to reinvent the wheel. I want to take that content I've already created and include it in a new piece of work. Now, you may be thinking I'd copy and paste it. But then you've got your problem that you copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste, and now you've got 4 blocks inside the history of Windows. But there's no link between them back to their original source. So if you change the original source because you realise there's a mistake, your history of Windows is incorrect. It is not going to get updated automatically. You're going to have to go to the history of Windows and find the same mistake and fix it twice. Transclusion means you don't need to do that. So we've seen what it looks like if you transclude one document inside another. It doesn't look that much different if you transclude 4, 5, 6 or however many you want. Obviously, again, it doesn't show as a little icon, it shows as a written piece of work. The purple stripes indicating that there is one about Windows 3.1, one about 95, one about 98, and one about XP. So let's see what this actually looks like inside Obsidian and how you do it. Do we have any questions about that before I even start?
No, everybody's talking out what version of Windows they had. Annie says they've got the user manual if you want a copy.
Oh my word! Do you remember how thick they were?
I do.
They're about 2 inches.
And Annie's still got a Spectrum 128 separate tape option.
Oh, wow. So have I. My first computer was a Sinclair Spectrum. My second was a Commodore 64, and I lusted for years after a Commodore A5, an A500, Amiga A500, which I got for my 21st birthday. And you know, I did pretty well. I got a car for my 18th and the computer of my dreams for my 21st. Right, okay, let's go and have a look at it. So somewhere I've got something written here. We're shifting now, so this will be a relief to some of you. We're going to a history of Mac computers. So I would be sitting down and I would be thinking to myself, I'm going to write a bit of a history about the Mac operating system. And this is how it would work. So this would be something that I've used a Mac since 2006, so I've got a lot of experience on the operating system. It does presuppose, in terms of work and workflow, that you have done some work up front. Nobody wants to sit in front of that and write the history of the Mac operating system, do they? Or do they? AI. Shall we have a look? Shall we have a look what AI could do? What on earth are you doing over there? I've got a window here and I have no idea. Oh, it's that one. Right, okay, let's get rid of that. And we'll ask the AI. Oh, it's like phone a friend, this, isn't it? Where's my AI? Let me get a blank page for my AI, and then I'll bring it on and we'll ask it. Okay. I think you'd still need to transclude some stuff, but there you go. Right, let's get that full screen and we'll start writing with AI. Right, write me a 600-word history of the Mac OS operating system. Might need to tell it that it used to be called OS 10. So let's put in, and this is what I'm saying about you do have to think with AI what information you need to give it. The Mac operating system, formerly known as OS 10. Right, do I need to tell it any more? From Apple. From Apple. Right, let's see what it can do with that. It'll probably end up being better than mine, but there you go. Oh, look at this. I am so spoilt with it. Can you see why we pay for it? There you go. That's not bad as a starting point. I would not take that and publish it, but it's not bad as a starting point. So I'd be interested in this bit here, and then you've got the birth of OS 10, and then the fact that the evolution into Mac OS. So yeah, you got something. So you could AI part of it. But once you've exhausted the intellect of the AI, which probably won't take long, don't seem to have much faith in it, and there's me paying for it. But trust me. Right, so that's what we could get, and we could paste that in here. But if I've already been making notes, and this is how a Zettelkasten works, and I know we've not deep dived that, but in essence, you've got two ways of working. You either take the content from somewhere and highlight the life out of it at the point that you save it into your system, or you create a Zettelkasten, which is not highlighting the life out of it, that's rewriting it in your own words, in chunks. So your Zettelkasten becomes paragraphs that are repurposable. They are atomic notes. They are small. They address one thing. So what I have done, I've not written this all up myself, life's too short, but what I do have over here, if we look at this, I have got from Wikipedia, and I have put the source in, every version of Mac OS. It's unbelievable. Cheetah, Puma, Jaguar, Panther, Tiger, which was my first, that was released, we got a release date there, 2005, and I bought my Mac in 2006. Leopard was my first OS update. It broke everything. Snow Leopard was the best version of macOS ever released. And it was all downhill then, with Lion, Mountain Lion, Mavericks. The names just got ridiculous. Yosemite, El Cap. We've got Sierra, High Sierra, Mojave, Catalina, Biggles. I know, Big Sur. Monterey and Ventura. So I have a paragraph about all of the operating systems. So, wouldn't it be good if I could repurpose that? And that's what transclusion is. So, if we go back to, let's get back to my page. Oh, I'm going too fast for you. Okay, we'll go back slowly, because I can't remember what I called it. I'm stressing it. It's all right, we're getting there, we're getting there. Right, so a history of Mac operating systems. Now, this isn't genuine, obviously, because for a start, it's from Wikipedia, and I would have written it myself. But the data is absolutely perfect to show you what transclusion is. Right, you can include a reference to a page. We've seen that. You can put square brackets in, and you can see that the order that I created those pages in is in there. The last page I created was a history of Mac operating systems. The one before that was Ventura, and then Monterey, and then Big Sur, etc. So if I wanted to include, in this case, it would be the first one, wouldn't it, which is Cheetah. I start typing that, I do that, and it puts a link into it. And that means that I can click the link and go to that page. So that is where you're building up your graph. You are linking together, you've got your bidirectional links. You know, this one knows that it's referred to in a history of the operating system and so forth. That is what we've been doing so far. Transclusion takes it a step further. Right. All I actually need to do to make that work is that. Don't worry about what I just did, right? The difference is, instead of it having a link, it actually pulls the content in. And there is the purple stripe indicating this is coming from somewhere else. But how on earth did I do that? So I'm going to highlight the lot and delete it. Have I deleted everything about Cheetah? No, because it's in the Cheetah page. I just pulled it in. I transcluded it. Here's how you transclude. You put an exclamation mark, which I'm reliably informed in the States is bang. Let me know if that's true or not. Right, so I put that in, and then I open the square brackets. And the only difference is that exclamation mark at the beginning. If I then wanted to put Cheetah in there, I press enter, and you see what I've actually typed is that, which is exclamation mark, square bracket, and then I filtered for the page that I wanted. That exclamation mark at the beginning is what transcludes it. So it's a hideous word, isn't it? But it's simple. In concept, it's simple. So if what I wanted in here was a list going from Cheetah, and maybe I could probably do that in an essay these days, as long as I put something between it. So I'm at the end of the line, but obviously I've got text down here. But this is the line. This is the place where I press enter to get the blank line below it. Because this is not actually contained in this file, it's transcluded in it. So I just rinse and repeat for the others. Exclamation mark, square bracket, and the next one is Puma, and put Puma in. Then I'm pressing enter twice and repeating that. So then it was Jaguar. So I've got that one, enter, and I'm pulling through all of this. It is so simple. Now, like I say, obviously you would probably put text between them. You would probably have written the things I'm pulling through, I'm transcluding, in your own words. I've just used this as a demonstration, but it is that simple to include other content. Now, this is supposing that this is an article that you're writing, maybe. And as I've said, you'd probably start with AI these days. But you can use it in other ways inside your notes, and I do this all the time. So I will show you a real life situation that I do. So are we okay with that, or have you got any questions?
No questions.
So you've either all nodded off or you're absolutely okay with it. Excellent. Right. In real life, how I do this is when I've got a course or a series of webinars that I'm attending. So basically it's for input at this stage. So this is how I would do it. So I create a new page. We'll close that one. And let's say my new page is about a course that I'm taking. So a new exciting course. And let's say I have information about that. I would probably have a start date. I would probably have an end date. And I may have resources. And the resources would probably, make that a heading one, include something like Circle, a Circle address, which is a chat system for courses. Maybe it's on Teachable or Thinkific or Udemy. So I would put those resources in here. One of the resources that I would be putting in here would be the schedule for the sessions. So underneath, part of the resources would be live sessions. I'll put that in as a heading too. And then in there, I'm going to put the actual live sessions. So let's say there are 8 sessions. I'm not going to get clever with them. We will just call them session 1 and so forth. So I'll get that in first. There's 8 of them. And what I do is I tend to put the name of the session. I always include the date in the file name. That's just a personal preference. So each one of these would have brackets after them, and I would put a date in, something like, what date is it on Monday? 27th, isn't it? It would look like that. And if I'm then going to go in there and put another one in, that would have another one. So let's say that the next one is the 28th. That's a good idea, isn't it? Like that. That's what they would look like. At this stage, they're not even files, much less transcluded anywhere. But this is what I would do. So I'm going to get rid of these dates because it's only going to confuse the issue, but that is what I would do. You don't need to, because you're going to do that in the actual page for that session. But these are my sessions. So I grab hold probably of the lot and I make them bullet points. And then I highlight the first one, I put square brackets around it. I'll highlight the second one and put square brackets around it. At this stage, you've done nothing that's made a difference in your graph, in your data, nothing. These pages do not at this stage even exist. That's why they're so pale. When they do exist, they'll light up in bright purple. And the reason that I've put them on this page, you know, my live sessions, is this is my jump off point for the exciting course I'm about to embark on. But in my session 1, I will click my session 1, it takes me through to it. And what I actually do is I have a template set up for every live session that I attend. And it gives me consistency between the sessions that I'm in. So I'm going to go and find one. 24th today, isn't it? Right, I think I've probably got some in here. So what I'm looking at is my Obsidian elsewhere. But it's got names and things in it, so you're going to have to bear with me while I create one and copy and paste it. So what I'm going to do is put in a generic session. So my generic session notes, this could be like any kind of session. But the ones we're looking at here is part of a series. So I'm going to copy this and paste it in here. So it would look something like that. I don't particularly put that at the top anymore, but that is what it would probably look like. So I think we've seen something like this before. This is what I would put in. I've got the meta at the top, so I know, and you know, because I've told you, that the date is next Monday. So I'll put that in. 27th, and let's say it's at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and then I put who's presenting it. So we'll put no, we won't do that. We'll put the square brackets in, not curly brackets. We'll put clever presenter, right, and then a series. Now this series that I put in here, that's a good place to link back to the jump-off page, the one page that we want in there, the exciting course. So I put my square brackets in and I start putting exciting course. Right. That means from this page, I can click to there and go back to my exciting course. And I've got my bi-directional navigation that I can get in here. Right, I put admin notes in it. I always put a stated intention for what the session is. So all of these get some text in them. This is if we've got any announcements. So that would be something like, I would put a note in something like, you know, tomorrow's session is an hour later or something like that. And then when I finish this session, I go through my notes. I'd update my calendar. I'd update my notes for tomorrow and so forth. Right. I also put, now these are just me. You don't have to do all of this, obviously. This is just me. And finally, and I don't usually have a transcript available, but if there's a transcript available, what I would do is go in there and these little things at the end, which are marking it as struck through, I would take that out and then I know that there's a transcript available. So that saves me going through any recordings or whatever if it's like, what did they say after X? And my notes go in there. All right. And then I fill in the rest of it. Now, at this stage, this is session 1 of this exciting course. I obviously need to create all of the others, but I'm just going to leave this like this for session 1 at the moment. The others are going to be a little bit more basic, but all of them, session 1 to 8, would look like that. And then they would look a lot fuller than that once I finish making notes. You're wondering what this has got to do with transclusion. I will put you out of your misery. I need to be able to jump around from session to session. Now, obviously, what I could do is go down to the bottom and I could put a heading, or I could even put it in admin notes or straight after this meta. But I would put in here a link to session 2 and 3 and 4 and so forth. But you don't need to do that because you've already done it. So if we go back to our exciting course, you've already done it. That's what you need in each one. But it's already inside a page, and you probably don't want to include the entire exciting course in the session pages, because this could get long. This could have lots of information in it. But we can still do it. So let's go back up here. And we may put something down like a heading 1 that says exciting course, although we won't particularly need to because that will come in. Exciting course schedule. Right. And we want that in there. Well, we know to transclude it, you start with the exclamation mark and you then follow that up with 2 square brackets. And there's my exciting course. So we could do that. And if we did, that's what it would look like. So this is the title of the page. That's my heading 1 in here, and there are all the details. But there's too much information. I don't really need all of that. Okay. So let's go back down to here. And this time, if I put in there, not that, I put in a hash, what is now showing is the headings. So we know that headings in Markdown are hashes. 1 for a heading 1, 2 for a heading 2, and so forth. By putting a hash immediately after the name of the page, you can transclude part of a page. Not the whole page, part of the page. And the part of the page that I want to transclude is just a list of the live sessions. So I choose that and press enter. And now it pulls in just the live sessions. And of course, the beauty of that will become apparent when we go to session 2 and do the same thing. So I'm not putting the rest of it in, you get the idea. So I want exciting course, don't I? But I want to go in there and I want that to be the live sessions and so forth. So actually, instead of going through the rigmarole of putting the exclamation mark and going to find it and then find the page and then find the heading, you just need to copy that line. So if I copy that, I go to session 3 and paste, we're done. Session 4, paste, 5, paste, and we are building up this mesh of navigation by embedding it. Now, you may be thinking at this stage, well, that's fantastic. I'm thrilled. I could do that manually. I know you could. But if you then find out that they're putting on 2 bonus sessions, then what are you going to do? You would have to go back and update 8, 9 pages, something like that. But if I go to my course here and I come down there and say, okay, so they're going to put session 9 on. So I'll add in session 9 and I'll add in another one for session 10. Right, now I've got 2 extra sessions in there. You can see at the moment they don't exist because they are a lighter colour than the first 8. And I'm going to need to paste in the code that I've already just copied. But let's go back and look at session 2. And you can see that the 9 and the 10 are automatically added. And to 3, and to 7, and so forth. So if I go to 9 and I paste that in, it pastes in 9 and 10. If I go to there and I paste in 9 and 10. So if there's any changes like they put another one in between, they put 5A in, you make the changes once in your course page and it updates automatically elsewhere. So I have loads of those. In fact, for me, I have a mastermind program at the very top level. And then within that, there are separate cohorts. So if you think about Ship 30, I've done the January cohort. The next cohort is April. So the cohort itself is self-contained for that cohort, particularly for me because I choose a theme. So the August cohort was Affinity Publisher and the October cohort was Scrivener. But at a higher level, they're all part of Ship 30. So I use this in a similar way. So what that would look like is I'll create a new page and let's say the whole thing is going to be under Ship 30. Why are you not typing? Right, Ship 30. Within this page, I would then have like 2023-01 and we'll say cohort. And we know that there were other cohorts and there's a cohort coming up. So that one would then be 4. These would be pages in their own right, and they would actually be jump-off points. They would be the home page for that cohort, but this page is the home page for Ship 30, the entire thing. This page would have things in it like when the payments are due and stuff like that. Not particularly things you want to be bothered with at the cohort level. But at the cohort level, so if I go down to here, what I would have in here is things like my post for day 1 and my post for day 2. But I would want from here to be able to get back to the Ship 30 at the very top level in case I'm thinking, am I okay for this cohort? Or, do I need to pay the bill? I can't remember when it was due. So somewhere in here, either at the top or the bottom, I would probably add in, I would make it, I do it as a call out. So blue pencil, and at the moment it's going to say see also, but I don't want it to say see also. Let's say Ship 30 admin. And in there, I would then put a link to that. So square brackets again, and Ship 30. And that is my Ship 30 admin at the top, but this is my January cohort. So all of the rest of the information in here is to do with the January cohort. What I can do again is go in here and just copy the raw code, go back up to Ship 30, come down to the next cohort and paste that in. And then again, I've got that at the top of the page and I can navigate up. So you can create multiple levels with this as well. I would probably have other cohorts listed. What I would do with that, so I'll put it in the normal way now, which is Command and P, and say call out. You can see it says note, and then what I do, change the thing at the end. So this one's going to be other Ship 30 cohorts. And in the contents of the note, I'm going to start putting in the other cohort. So my other cohort that I've got in here is 2023-01. And I've got other cohorts that I did. So I know for a fact that I did 2022... Was it November? I think it was October. Right, let's put that in, and so forth. Right, that, and we don't need that last bullet, do we? Let's get rid of that. Okay. All of this would have text for that cohort in it. But at the bottom, I've got this resource that will let me switch around to other cohorts. In fact, I would probably put all cohorts, and that way I would put a link in at the very top to this one as well. Hang on, not 14. 04, that's better. Right, let's do that. That way, this that I've got at the bottom, I can select that, just copy and paste it, go to my other cohort. In fact, this is going to the wrong page, but never mind that. I will go to the others and paste that in. I've got dates in here. That's why it's doing it. I'd have to make clear what these actually are. I tell you what I'll do. I'll put in ship 30 cohort, and then it'll know what it's talking about, won't it? And it won't be pointing to a date. So let's go in there and put all of that in. 30 cohort and ship 30 cohort. Now this one, if I were to copy and paste it at the moment, I would need to copy and paste it in all of them. But all of the ship 30 cohorts are probably going to be referenced. So I'm going to delete that. And I'm going up to my ship 30 admin. And you can see we've got cohorts here. I would replace the links that I've put in there with ship 30 cohorts. I would have that as a title. And I would put these in here. There they are. In fact, with that, I probably wouldn't need the title, but we'll leave it alone. Right, so I've got that in my ship 30. Then, as I go to each of these, what I need to do is to use the exclamation mark, square brackets, and put in ship 30. That's pulling all of it in, but I want to be more precise than that, so I put that on it and I say a heading 1. And that pulls that in. And now I've transcluded all of the cohorts. Why is it worth doing that? Well, when the extra cohorts get put in, they will be put in once. And I'll be able to pull them through to wherever I want. So that's a practical use for it. I've seen other people use it where they're writing and they've got their Zettelkasten, so more like the macOS one, where they're actually pulling in paragraphs of text or parts of content. And that's really the future. So when people say, I'm fine with Evernote, I am fine with Evernote. And anyway, Evernote have introduced backlinks. They're not bidirectional. They're at page level. You can't link to something that doesn't exist. And you certainly can't pull in part of a page and make new material from existing material that you have. So the number of times over the years I must have made notes about the versions of macOS. So, annually now there's going to be a new version. So I said to Mike just before we started this, I wonder what they're calling Tabby Cat this year. And what that means is when they were cheetah, puma, jaguar, panther, we were always laughing, will they ever call one Tabby Cat? So the next version of macOS for us, Mike, it's shorthand. Mike would know exactly what I meant if I said, when's Tabby Cat coming out this year? So I would then need the list of when was Lion released? What year was that? And I'd have no idea. I'd have to go and look it up repeatedly. Now with my notes, I can just transclude them. So if, as part of this, can you pour me some water, Mike? Oh, it's all right. I've got some there. That's full. Have you got any questions while I cough myself to death?
No. No questions.
Okay. Right. If what I'd done in my notes here for Cheetah was put in the release date, so I know what it is, and that's a heading 2. And when was it? Blah, blah, blah. 24th of March. 2001. Good grief, Maya was 12 days old. Right, so I've put in the release date of it. I might want to put at the beginning of that so I know which is which. Cheetah. I might do. I might not. It depends. But then in another page, when I'm coming to write about macOSs, and I want to refer to Cheetah, so I'd be putting something in here, Cheetah, whatever, right? And I want to put in when it was released. I don't have to go look it up or anything like that. I'll just go into here. I will find it. That's the whole thing, and I don't want the whole thing. But if I go back and I link to a heading, release date, there you go. So that is how I can use part of my notes and just pull through exactly what I need. So that is such a time saver. When it clicks, it is such a time saver. It will enable you to create content 10 times faster. You just have to get your head around how it is going to work best for you. So for me, I use it extensively for courses and pulling through information, so I don't have to keep going back to a different page to find what I'm looking for. When's the payment due, or when's this happening? When's the next session? It's all there on an individual page. And that one of the biggest benefits is it automatically updating. So you saw that I added 2 sessions and it updated everywhere. I did not need to think about that. And that is the beauty of Transclusion. So, do we have any questions on that?
No.
Is everybody asleep now?
No.
It excites me.
Nobody's asleep. Jammy's stuffing his face with chocolate. Patience is drinking coffee. Annie's just gone to bed because she's up at stupid o'clock, but she was enjoying the demo.
Jammy, why? I'd rather not go to the gym and not have the chocolate than have to do both.
Myself.
Don't you want the chocolate? Oh, that's bad. Right, okay, what do we have coming up? We're back again on Monday with planner pages for students in Affinity Publisher, and I have got some cracking demos there. It was one of these situations. I'll show you a little bit behind the scenes now. Right, I looked at this thing and I thought, I can do that. That'd be fine. We'll do that as a demo. And then I sat down to do it and it was like, whoa, nothing worked. It was, I'll put a border on it. No, you won't. You can't do that. I'll put a background on it. Can't do that either. I'm like, whoa, this is way more difficult than it should have been. And that was before we got Excel involved. I did manage to fix it just before Mike came in. But you know what it feels like when you've struggled for half an hour to get something to work. And then some know-it-all comes in and says, oh, yes, that's fine. You do know you can do that much faster. That. You did that, didn't you?
You do that all to me all the time.
Yes, but when it comes to Excel. So there's me. I had 150 formula. Mike came in and put 1 in and it worked. You swine. But he did tell me how it worked. So that's what we're doing on Monday. We are also back next Friday. It's March next Friday. That's frightening. In my head, it's still February 2020. Do you know that? Mm-hmm. By next Friday, we'll be 3 days off 3 years in lockdown here. Oh, stalwarts of it. Also available on demand is everything. Then you will find that at youtube.com/Elaine Giles, including the on-demand planner pages for teachers, which was last week. We have a playlist for After Hours, and you will find that at macbites.co.uk, After Hours playlist. And of course, we love you guys. And if you love us or you've enjoyed today, then give us a like. It really makes a difference. As does a subscription. And that way you will find out everything that we are doing. There is my newsletter at elainegiles.com/VIP. That is where you will get the first notifications and follow-ups with clickable links for all of the other sessions that we do. The MacBites After Hours, you will get all of that at macbites.co.uk/macbites-mail. Then there's Slack. And I'm ahead of myself this week, I think, Mike. That's where we carry on the conversation. And I've got both slides. If you are not a member and you want to join, you need to go to macbites.co.uk/join Slack. And that is the QR code. If you are already a member, you need to go to somewhere entirely different, which is macbites.co.uk/Slack. So join Slack if you're new, Slack if you're already a member. And I shall look forward to chatting with you there. So, questions about anything now? Where you go? You must.
Carol says, a drat, I dozed off. So you add the page and then the heading.
What's this?
I presume that was the last thing about Transclusion.
It must have been me gently taking you to sleep. Right, let's head back into here and have a look at it. Right, what I did, let's start again. There's a new page. Right, what I did was I added the release date to the bottom of this one under a heading 2. So in here, which is my Mac, hang on, you're not typing again. Mac OS. I know there is. Stop screaming. This is our version 2 for Carol. Right. What I want to put in here is some text about something else, and then I want to have the release date pulled through, but I don't want the rest of the content. So if I put the bang, and is it a bang? Did anybody tell me?
Nobody told you.
Oh, I wish somebody would tell me.
I've always called it the bang.
Oh, right, okay then. You see, you know why that bothered me? The B of the bang. Find a link for the B of the bang. That was a disaster waiting to happen. Right, so exclamation mark, square brackets, and it's the cheetah one. So if I just put cheetah, I get everything, and I don't want everything. I just want the release date at the bottom. So I've moved my cursor back so it's to the right of the H. I have put a hash in, and that limits my search to the headings in the document. I've got one which is release date, and that is how it pulls it through like that. And I did that on another one, which was the exciting course, I think. I've created the live session list in the course page. But when I'm in a session, so let's get a session here, I only want the live session links. I don't want the start date, the end date, and all of the resources. So I did that in exactly the same way. If we move down to that, you see the exclamation mark, square brackets, exciting course, which is the name of the page, followed by hash, followed by the heading. And that limits it to everything that is in that heading. Did that answer your question? Right, I've got a blue thing here. I can't see the bottom of the chat. It's being silly. Oh, there we go. Now it's moved. Right. I can't even see the question, Mike. So is that okay? Oh, the B of the bang. The B of the bang needs to be seen to be believed, doesn't it, Mike? It was a monstrosity. It was commissioned for, was it the 2002 Commonwealth Games, which was in Manchester?
Let's put it in the chat.
Was it 2002?
Yeah.
That's it. Like I say, it needs to be seen to be believed. It's metal, or it was in its heyday. It rusted, and those spikes started falling off like javelins, almost impaling people. So it was ripped down. How much did it cost? Some stupid amount of money, honestly. It was the ugliest thing I have ever seen. When it came in, I think it was like a silver colour, but obviously it's metal, so it rusted. So think the Angel of the North with spikes. Yeah, bad hair day. It was not good. Oh, the things we have to put up with here. Always have something nice. No, we have to have the B of the bang. Right, so was that okay, Carol? Hopefully so. Right, what else have we got?
That's it.
Oh, okay then. No problem. I'm reading questions now and heading back. Heading back. Oh, thank you, Jammy. Jammy's asking if I'm okay. I'm a little bit better, yes. Not 100%, let's put it like that.
She missed the bang.
You missed the bang at the beginning, right. That's what includes it. If you think about it, that's what includes graphics as well. So the inclusion, the bang is for the inclusion, and the hash is to limit it to a particular heading. Okay, if we have no more questions, then that means I might actually be able to get some ice cream. Don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, I overindulged the other night on ice cream a little bit too late. I shouldn't have been indulging at that time of night, let's put it like that. Oh, my word. Okay. What have we got next week? I've no idea. But it's end of month, so I'll have to catch up with everything that's not been done. That might tease Peter a bit, don't you think? That massively long list of stuff that's not been done. You never know. You never know. Okay, then. All right, what we got here? Oh, bad weather. Ours is bizarre, isn't it? It's going from freezing cold, where I'm like, shut that door and give me a jumper, to can you leave the door open? I'm boiling. It's ridiculous at the moment. But I'm very jealous because I've got a friend in Seattle. I don't know how close this friend is to you, Kim, but it's been snowing. And I've been watching the snow on videos. Loving that. Loving that. But no, but as I did say, we did have snow in May one year, didn't we?
We did.
We managed it the first week in May, which is unheard of. And it's moved. When I was a kid, you used to have snow December. But I would say lately when we've had snow, it's been end of January, early February. You know, like for the 60th.
Yeah.
Yes, it's weird. The weather is weird. Okay, so we are going to head off. So I'm going to say good night from me.
And good night from me.
And we will both see you next time. Stay safe, guys.